This is Vishnu Tandel and welcome to my class. Dear students, today we are going to learn 9th standard history first chapter, the French Revolution. Here we are going to learn causes of the French Revolution and the role of philosophers in the French Revolution. So let us start the class. Dear students, today we often take the ideas of liberty, freedom, equality for granted. But we need to remind ourselves that even these ideas have history. The French Revolution had put forth the ideas liberty, fraternity and equality. And French Revolution led to an end of the monarchy in France. So, this is an introduction of the French Revolution. Now, let us understand, let us learn causes of the French Revolution. As we know that every revolution had a causes, reason behind it. Some reasons are common. Political causes are reasons, economical causes and social causes and other causes. So, even French Revolution had causes. So, let us understand and let us learn these causes one by one in detail. First cause is economic cause, or we can call it as empty treasury. What was the reason behind this empty treasury? Or how economic cost reasons contributed in the French Revolution. So let us understand. In the year 1774, Louis XVI, king of Bourbon family, ascended the France throne. At the age of 20, he married to an Austrian princess, Mary Antoinette. When he became the king of France, he found an empty treasury. The treasure was dried. There was no wealth in the treasury. Why it was empty? The reasons was long years of war. During this period, wars were very common and wars were prolonged. The long years of war drained the economical resources of France. Apart from this, the maintenance cost of Versailles Palace was too much. So earlier already the treasury was empty and the maintenance cost of the Versailles Palace was too much. Even this cost was the reason behind the French Revolution or economical crisis. It was become one of the reasons for the economical crisis. Under the Louis XVI, French helped the 13 American colonies to gain their independence from their common enemy, Britain. During this time, Britain was the common enemy for French as well as these 13 American colonies. And Louis XVI helped these 13 American colonies to gain their independence from their common enemy. This war added more than 1 billion livres to the debt, which already risen for more than 2 billion livres. So already France was under critical economic crisis. Now this war added more than 1 billion livres to the debt. The lender who credited the state now began to charge 10% interest on the loan. The lender who gave the loan for the state, now they began to charge 10% interest on the loan. Apart from this, to maintain the court, to maintain the army, to pay the salary for the officials, state had to behind the empty treasury. And these economical causes were one of the causes for the French Revolution. Now let us go to the second one, social causes. During the 18th century, French society was classified into three estates. The society was divided into three estates. First estate comprised the clergy, means church authorities. Second estate comprised the nobility, means monarch and his family. And third estate they consisted of big businessmen, merchant, traders, artisan, peasant, landless farmer, servants, so on. Here, the peasant made up of about 90% of the population. 90% of the population was made up of peasant farmers, and this 90% of the population owned only 40% of the land, and rest of the 60% of the land or property was owned by the first and second estate, who made up of only 10%. These peasants or these third estate people have had to pay all taxes. Taxes were borne by the third estate people, and here first and second estate people enjoyed the privileges based on birth. One of the privileges that they enjoyed was they were exempted from the tax. So they were exempted. They did not pay tax because that was a privilege based on the birth. Now, apart from the paying tax, third estate people had to work in the house of clergy, nobility, and they had to participate in the war. They had to participate in road construction and other public development work. Here, government, third estate people paid all taxes. Apart from this, church and nobility, clergy and nobility extracted tax from the people. The church expected its share of tax, that is known as tithes, and state expected direct tax, that is called tithe. So here it means there was a social injustice, social inequality existed in the France society. These social inequality, social injustice became the cause, one of the causes of the French Revolution. So examination point of view is very important. Formation of a society. How was the formation of society, or how social inequality became one of the reasons for the France Revolution and all. So let us go to the next one, third cause, subsistence crisis. Subsistence crisis. Now first we need to understand what does subsistence crisis means. Subsistence crisis is nothing but it's an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are in danger. What are our basic means of livelihood? Food and shelter. When these are in danger, that situation is known as the subsistence crisis. So what led to subsistence crisis? Reason is population. Rapid increase in the population. The population of France rose in 23 million in 1750 and it rose to 28 million in 1789. Rapid increase. Rapid increase in the population led to increase in the demand for food grains. Quite obvious. When there was more population, there was more demand for the food grain. But the thing was, production of food grains could not keep pace with the demand. There was a huge demand for the food grains, but production could not meet the demand. there was imbalance. Imbalance. More demand, less production. So what would happen? Obviously, the price of the food grain rise. The same thing happened in France. So when there was a huge demand for the food grains and less production, that resulted in rise in the food grains, especially bread, which was the staple diet of a majority population. It increased. The most of the workers were employed in workshops whose wages were fixed. We have come to know that the price of food grains rose rapidly, but in the same way, the wages could not keep the pace of rising prices. Their wages were fixed. Owner did not increase their wages, their salary. Now, this created a gap between poor and rich. It created widened the gap. It created gap between poor and rich. Apart from this, drought and hail reduced the harvest. Drought and hail reduced the harvest. Now, earlier there was very less production, and this hail and drought reduced the harvest. These all circumstances led to subsistence crisis. So let us go to the next part. Fourth cause was growth of the middle class. This is one of the important factors in the French Revolution. 18th century witnessed the emergence of a strong social group termed as the middle class. It was a time, 18th century was the period of emergence of a strong social group that is called as a middle class. These middle class people earn their wealth through an expanding overseas business and manufacturing goods like woolen and silk textile. These third estate included professions such as lawyer, administrative officials. And these third estate people, middle class people, were very educated. And they believed that no person or estate in the entire society should be privileged based on birth. Rather than a person's social status should be based on his merit, not on the birth, on his ability. And these people, middle class people, were inspired by the philosophers, the great philosophers, Rousseau, John Locke, and Montesquieu. Now, let us learn role of philosophers. Philosophers had an important role in the French revolutions. They motivate people, they inspire people to speak or raise their voice against the monarch. Here we have three important philosophers who had an important role in the French Revolution. First is John Locke. John Locke, he wrote a book called The Treatise of Government. The two treatises of government. In his book, he offers the absolute right of a monarch. In previous class, we have learned that monarch and clergy, they had an absolute power. No one could question his power. Next was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau was one of the philosophers who inspired the people by his writing. He wrote a book called The Social Contract. In his book, he proposed a form of government based on a social contract between people and their representative. He proposed a form of government based on social contract between people and their representative. Next one, Montesquieu. Montesquieu wrote the book The Spirit of Law. In his book, he proposed a division of power within the government between legislative, executive and judiciary. It means present type, modern type of a government. That power is shared between the government, within the government, between legislative, executive and judiciary. The students, today in our class we have learned the French Revolution and causes of French Revolution. In next class we shall come with another part, outbreak of the French Revolution. Till then, take care and thank you.